Meanwhile, the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, in an interview with the Daily Graphic, said the government's attention had been drawn to the unilateral action by the group. He expressed surprise, regrets, because he said there was a tripartite meeting on October 18, 2014, and it was agreed at that meeting that the matter will be discussed further, with the government agreeing to review. And then sadly, there's this action. We've been joined on the phone by the Chief Executive Officer of GAME and GAME Academy of Mediation, Mr. Austin Game. We're grateful that you could join us via phone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So what do you know about this back and forth with Tier 2?
Oh, this do not even qualify to be called a battle. It is a very small matter which have been taken out of proportion by both sides. I think that I have reasonable knowledge about it because I was one of the commissioners that wrote the pension scheme, and I represented NAT on the commission. I think this is a defined contributory scheme, particularly the second tier as well, and both parties are enjoined to serve as conduits for the owners of the scheme, who are the workers themselves. It is not intended, by what I know, for the government to run the pension scheme. It's also not intended for the union to run the pension scheme. It's workers' contribution. And it's not everybody who necessarily might be a union member. So we did not, under any circumstances, channel the thing to be run by a union, and I do not think the unions are saying they want to run the scheme. I think what should be done is for both parties, having selected a fund manager, having set up the trustee board, to agree on who the fund manager should be. Now, if they are unable to reach agreement on their own, they should look for a mediator or facilitator to assist them to do so, and not to disturb the peace of the country.
But Mr. Game, we know there's a fund manager already in place, because we're hearing about the Pensions Alliance Trust. Does it mean the two parties did not settle on this manager?
Yes, I heard so, that it's because of that particular thing. That is why the matter is being raised now, because they claim that they were not party to the selection of the Pension Alliance as fund managers. So both sides should get together and talk about who they want to be the fund manager. And by this kind of arrangement, you don't just say they should transfer the money to you. You have to discuss the nuances of it, and it will serve as a past credit or as credit to be credited if an arrangement with the new fund managers that to be agreed to. It should not be that the unions will have to be the ones selecting a fund manager. It's not supposed to be so. And it shouldn't be government as employer being the one selecting the fund manager per se. Both sides will have to discuss. Like I said, if they are unable to reach agreement on sticking to one, then they look for a mediator or a facilitator to guide them in the selection, or eventually go for arbitration for somebody to be imposed on them from a list of fund managers both sides will have. But the way they are going about it now is not proper, and I'm talking to both sides, not just one side. So that's just where it is. But it's not a protracted matter. It's not a very complicated matter that they will have to take guns and be killing themselves.
All right, Mr. Game, my name is Roland. As I also continue with questioning on this very subject, the Daily Graphic is reporting as saying, and indeed, the minister spoke on Joy FM on Tuesday evening and specifically said that it was agreed that the matter will be discussed further, and I'm quoting him, with government agreeing to review the Pension Alliance Trust rule to satisfy organized labor in the process of managing the second tier team. It presupposes that government is still not necessarily heeding to the call of the workers to make sure that they set aside not only the Pension Alliance Trust, but also other pension fund managers, as stipulated by the law. So
both sides should go discussing it. If they are unable to reach agreement, they should go to the National Labour Commission or look for a private facilitator or mediator or arbitrator to guide them. It's not for both one side to decide that I want it done this way or the other way. It should be both sides sitting down and talking about it. If they are unable to reach agreement, they must look for somebody to facilitate the process for them. But to be honest with you, Roland, this is one of the most minutest matter in this country that should not reach this kind of zenith at all. I don't see it.
Do you think that organized labor trusts government?
Do I think they have
a trust for government?
Oh, I don't know how many workers in this country that trust their management. Maybe about 1% or 2%. It's not normal. Even in Germany yesterday, you see the Frankfurt pilots, they are on strike. They don't trust their management. It's a very normal thing with working people. And therefore, that should not even be too much an issue. The concern here is that the workers have a legitimate concern and they are raising it. I support them to raise it.
All right.
How do we raise it? How do we resolve it? That's what we must deal with.
In coming to this very conclusion on what the level of dialoguing should be, you're saying that the workers also don't have the right to be saying they want to form or incorporate their own pension scheme managers per se, and also government doesn't need to state that it has only one trust or trustee for the second tier system. So what should be the compromise there? Should they choose out of the four as stipulated by the Act?
Honestly, both sides don't have. They don't have both sides. The union don't have a right to run the pension scheme. Neither do the government as employer have a right to say they are going to run the pension scheme. That's actually an independent fund manager. If they cannot reach agreement on one of the listed fund managers, they should go for immediate to assist them to make a selection. It can be done. I guarantee you. I don't think sitting between the two parties, it should take me more than 2 hours in getting them to reach agreement. I don't think so. Now, and if they are unable to reach agreement, the next step is there. You go to arbitration, they impose on you one of the listed fund managers. It may not be alliance fund managers. It may be the one that the unions are seeking to. It will be one other of them. That is it. So I don't know the reason why they want to kill themselves. Look, Roland, Ghana, Ivory Coast, are they on the street fighting? Certainly no. They took the legitimate route by going to arbitration, the final phase, after they've met about 10 times. So if they've met 100 times and they are unable to reach agreement, the civilized way to do it is to go for a mediator or an arbitrator to help them to solve the problem and not to disturb your peace and my peace.
Mr. Game, wrapping up with me, Mama V, on this particular subject, would you say that perhaps government erred in solely appointing a fund manager when it clearly didn't have the sole right to do so?
I think they were mindful about two areas. The risk element of it, which is normal with fund management, when all is over and there is crisis, because in pension scheme management in Europe, there can always be some crisis. In Ghana, there can be problems. So if there is a problem, who do they go to? They will go to government as the father of the nation. And that is what I think the tiniest route they took and decided that they want to raise a fund manager. That I do not support in fully that they should do that alone. When we were writing the scheme, I think that was one of the things that we were mindful of, because it's a contributory and defined scheme, an enterprise-based scheme. Where we pick it from? From Chile. Chile is where we pick the highest percentage of the scheme and make sure that we brought it to satisfy our domestic distance.
But Mr. Game, not to catch you, does it state clearly who appoints the manager?
Both sides, both parties are supposed to meet and discuss it. The employer is a contributor. the workers are contributors. If you like, you are mindful about not mentioning the word union, because unions are not supposed to be the one running the pension scheme, but they are the normal conduits that we workers use in articulating our views. That is why I'm mentioning that.
Okay.
Because it's not everybody who is a member of the union.
All right.
So I think it's important that we are all mindful about that aspect of it.
Okay.
So I enjoy both sides to talk about it. If you are unable to reach agreement, you go to Labour Commission. If they want to select an independent private mediator or facilitator to guide them, so be it.
All right.
And not to kill you and myself.
Mr. Game, we'll have to leave it here, but we really appreciate your time with us on this particular subject. Thank you very much. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Game and Game Academy of Mediation. This is not over yet. We will talk more on this.
Talking about what is not over, the show is also not over, because tomorrow we'll bring you another edition. And so please stay put. We'll be monitoring events, but we still have regular programming on this very channel. Join News on Multi TV. As always, stay glued. And the next one we have, apart from a repeat of PM Express next, will be
News Desk with Kamini at 10.
Yeah,
Remember,
sure, this very
Ekufuado is unveiling Baumia again. And there's more on this particular subject of strike.
Ekufuado is unveiling me. I have an adopted name, Baumia.
My name is Mama Via Usobaje.
Mine is Roland Walker. Have a good day.
And stay with the channel.
Bye.